participants from across the globe. I hope we have also participants from Europe. Don't be afraid of using the chat box to say hello to your colleagues and to write any questions you might have. So my name is Bárbara Pais. I'm working for the communications department at EUROPARC Federation, and I will be moderating today this webinar. For those who don't know EUROPARC Federation, we are the biggest network of European protected areas, and we work all across Europe with a wide range of protected areas. We were founded in 1973 and are currently based in Germany, from where I'm talking to you, and also in Brussels. In Brussels, our work is mainly representing the interests of our members within the European Commission and the European Union. Today, this webinar is a celebration of the International Year of Sustainable Tourism for Development. For this special occasion, we have organized 3 webinars. The first one we had it last month, and it was focused on visitor management in transboundary parks. If you were not able to attend this webinar, you can still access the records and the presentations on EUROPARC website. Today, we will be focusing on our charter network, and in June, we will be talking about sustainable tourism in marine protected areas. As some of you might know, the EUROPARC Federation started the European Charter for Sustainable Tourism in Protected Areas for more than 20 years ago. This is a model that enables protected areas to manage their tourism sustainably. And currently, we have over 157 sustainable destinations in 19 European countries who are following the standards of the EUROPARC Federation. And today, we will have some members of the Charter Network telling in the first person their experience with the Charter. If you are curious about the Sustainable Destinations awarded with the Charter, you can check them on EUROPARC website under Charter Network. So today, we will start with a very special person for EUROPARC Federation, Patrizia Rossi. She was the president of the Federation some years ago. She was the director of an Italian park, and she is chair of the European Charter for Sustainable Tourism in Protected Areas Evaluation Committee. So Patrizia will introduce us the Charter, the process of the Charter, and then we will hear the experience of 2 parks, one park from Spain, La Garrocha Nature Park, and another park from France, Livra de la Forêt. So I hope you enjoy, and please feel free to write your questions in the chat box throughout the presentations. Please be sure that you address all the questions to them. So if you want to make a question to Patrizia, please write Patrizia, 2 dots, and then you write your question. So in the end, when we have the discussion, we know exactly who should answer each question. If you are facing any kind of problem, any technical problem, you can write them on the chat box and I will be supporting you. Thank you very much for your attention. And I will give the floor now to Patrizia Rossi.
Hello, everybody. My name is Patrizia Rossi. Thank you very much, Barbara, for the nice presentation. Today, we will focus on the European Charter for Sustainable Tourism as a participatory process. As Barbara said, I've been in the Charter construction since the beginning, and that was many years ago. In 1993, EUROPARC was trying to find an answer to the question about the controversial aims of protected areas. Is it possible to reconcile conservation and development? The parks are very special areas and they are very much loved by the people. So there was this first report, which is called Loving Them to Death, and means that sometimes the high frequentation of protected areas can lead to severe damage. And EUROPARC decided to build up a working group about the impact of tourism in protected areas. So the result of this working group was both the publication Loving Them to Death with several cases about this controversial situation, and the conclusion was that a specific tool were necessary, and that's why the European Charter for Sustainable Tourism has been developed through a live project, and the tool is now available and helps protected areas and tourist business to define a sustainable tourist strategy by means of a strategic and participated approach. These two words, strategy and participation, are the key words of the Charter. But it is also an international recognition to prize improvements made both by the destination, the protected area as a whole, and by the single businesses that are working, have their activity in the protected area. And finally, as you have seen, is a European network of parks and businesses engaged in sustainable tourism. The Charter is structured in three parts. The first part is concerning the park, the protected area, or the destination, as you want to call it. The second part is concerning the single tourist businesses. And the third one is concerning the travel agencies that are bringing people to enjoy the protected areas. There is an application process. The park should be a member of EUROPARC, and it may inscribe itself in the candidate list and agree to the sustainable tourism principle. Then, what is very important for the topic we are dealing today is the establishment of a forum and the elaboration of the strategy and action plan. Then there should be an application report. The park receive a verification visit, and the verifier write his report back to the EUROPARC Federation. The evaluation committee examines the report, both the report and the application, and then takes the final decision. And if the decision is positive, there is the award of the signature of the Charter. Why the Charter is a participatory process? Because a very important requirement of all the process is the establishment of the forum. The name means that there should be a meeting to involve every stakeholder of the park, of the protected area, where they express their needs and their concern, and it is the place where all the conflicts with the contrasting interests may be solved. The forum, step by step, should become a permanent structure to lead all the process of the Charter. The forum has the task to elaborate the strategy and the action plan. Through them, all the process of the Charters is established and carry on. So this requirement is very important. After myself, Giuseppe will speak about the forum, the importance of the forum, and how it has been structured as an example in his protected area, La Garrocha Natural Park. So when the park as a protected area has signed the charter, there can be the second part, that is the award to the tourist businesses. Each tourist business having its activity in the park can apply. At the moment, there are 400 certified businesses in Spain, 385 in France, 61 in Italy, and also the Nordic Baltic section and the Atlantic Isle section are working on certification for part 2. The main requirements for awarding the businesses is, of course, the park has completed successfully the part 1, and there should be the existence of a national awarding system which is coordinated by the different national sections. Just to give you an example of the official recognition, here is the panel that is given to all the businesses in the Parc Alpi Marittime who has decided to join the process. So the official recognition is something which is very important. And finally, part 3 is referred to the travel agency and the tour operators that are organizing packages or travels to the certified protected areas. In this field, there is a cooperation with TUI, which is the German, one of the most important travel agency in the world. And France is leading in this field, and you will hear the presentation from Caroline Leroy, and has already 15 travel agency certified. But there are also pilot projects in Spain, and other areas are working on this. Several parks engage in preparing packages. So I may finish my presentation with this picture that is an example on how it is important for the work of the Charter that everyone is pulling in the same direction of sustainable tourism. So thank you for your attention. I would like now to introduce Josep Maria Prats, who is responsible for tourism in La Garrocha Regional Park, is also one of the fathers of the charter because it gave a great contribution to the conception of this tour, and is also a verifier and a member of the evaluation committee. Giuseppe will explain what is a forum, why it is so important, and how it is working in La Garrocha Regional Park. Giuseppe.
Hello everybody. Thank you very much, Patricia, for your kind introduction. Yes, I will talk about our experience a permanent forum requirement for the charter. I well, that I have time, but this is to introduce very briefly my park is in Spain. The habitat park with more than 40,000 inside the park, created in 1982 by a law by the Parliament of Catalonia. Nowadays, the Department of Territory. It was the first Spanish park awarded with the European Charter for Sustainable Tourism. Maybe it was easier for us because it's a small area, easier maybe to work with people in small territory than huge territory. The reason for the park is the existence of 40 20 laboratories and park billion funds. Even if the richness of the region is industrial, 60% of woodland, this combination of nature and habitat is the key why we decided to try to work with the charter. The park is working with the charter from the very beginning. We were invited to be one of the parks defining the charter, and we were at the first park in Spain and one of the 7 first parks to be awarded charter in 2001. Since then, we are working with the charter, and we are working at the 3 levels of the charter that Patricia with the territorial level, of course, but also with businesses. And now there are 3 tour operators are awarded also with the charter in Garrocha. They are the first 3 tour operators awarded in Spain, as far as I know. Patricia outlined the importance of the permanent forum for the charter. I think that this is the specific mark of the charter, the most relevant requirement. Forum be integrated by all representatives, all the stakeholders of tourism present protected park authorities, of course, local authorities, county councils, tourism associations, tourist businesses, conservationists, NGOs, and any other relevant stakeholder present the territory. How La Garrocha Nature Park implemented the forum? Well, our first step was to identify and meeting the relevant stakeholders. In 1994, it was the first time that the park was invited to join an advising committee at county level, and it was the first time we were able to meet our future partners. At that moment, we had no experience in this process. The park was looking for many people with suspicion because it was a new administration, and this committee allowed us to begin to dissipate all doubts and step by step trying to gain the confidence of our partners. This advising committee decided to become a formal tourism association called Turisma Rocha. And from 1990, when we started the process to apply for the charter, is acting as the park's permanent forum. This tourist association is a private one, is not a public association, it's a non-benefit private association, but integrated both by public and private sector partners. They represent the totality of the stakeholders in La Garrocha, and the Tourism Association was formed with the aim to promote sustainable tourism model of development based on the quality of the offer, emphasizing the respect for nature and environment. This association that then is now 21 years of existence, and during this long period, we were able to include the most relevant stakeholders and the totality of the municipalities of La Garrocha, 21, the park, county council, social protective of Alta Garrocha. At the same time, the forum is joined by more than 200 local tourist businesses. The organization of the association is the General Assembly that is properly speaking the real forum, integrated by 24 representatives of the public sector, the municipalities, for example, and 24 representatives of the private sector, mainly businesses. All the businesses, all the partners are invited to participate in the assembly. There is also a governing body that is elected by the General Assembly, elected by 6 representatives of the public sector and 6 of the private. We always try to keep a balance between public and private sector. This association, of course, is doing a lot of things. I will show you after some examples of which kind of actions is able to do. But this is only possible because all the partners fees. Town councils are paying a fee according to the inhabitants and number of tourist businesses present in the territory. Other administrative bodies yearly fee that can vary depending on the situation of the administration. The private associations regrouping the businesses are paying according to the number of members, but also private businesses themselves are paying according a wide range of services that they can obtain from the tourism association. Then the forum is not only a meeting place, but also an active place where businesses obtain valuable services in order to promotion or training. Or you will see after. Then the strategic approach of Turismo Garrocha plays in 4 axes: promoting culture, activities, the tourism services. Second is try to adapting permanent catalog of services offered to its members. Then establish a coordination of the tourism offer in the whole territory, and of course every time trying to rework the organizational, personal, social model of tourism agriculture. These 21 years of existence, several restructurations have taken place. There is every year action program agreed with all the members in connection linked with the action plan of the European Charter, but the association is dealing also in planning and investment, marketing and promotion, information, providing information to its members and visitors, advising the businesses how to improve their business, and training. Training is very important for the process. This is a summary of the main features of the association. I will give you shortly some examples about which kind of actions has been able to do this tourism association. Maybe one of the most important actions during this 20 years was the of tourist products based on footpath. This was a project financed by the Leader Plus program, and we did it partnership with 2 neighboring territories, Tripoli and Urla, and the main action was to define the network of footpaths and identify the possible customers the people that can be interested in hiking our comarca. Then we have to do specific actions to adapt this tourism offer, and of course to create packaging welcoming products. Because for the mention important be the main action in this period, but also we were able to, of course, award private tourist business with the European more than 56 tourist businesses awarded with the charter. We joined a Spanish ecotourism hub called Tureve, that is important for our projection at national level. We um, created 9 specific products offering experiences in order to enjoy nature, to hike, to buy, gastronomy, the main values we want to promote in our region. We worked a lot in coordinating people that are working in tourism in our territory. And we have several working groups of tourism experts that are constantly discussing about how to improve the tourism structure in close collaboration with tourism offices and a network of information points, digital information points. At the same time, all the businesses that are awarded with the charter are acting as official information points of the park, receiving for this a specific training provided by the park. Of course, they are also important in our action. There is a web you see now at the screen, turismagarrocha.com, with a lot of visits every year and very complete information about the possibilities and constantly being actualized. Facebook, Twitter, very active in vision, and very recently we set up a specific program about the cultural heritage in Garrocha that is called Garrocha Culture, and includes an inventory of the heritage, signposting of all the specific spots more interesting in Garrocha, and APP, including wider information about the routes and with games for children, videos, a promotional leaflet, digital corner, things that we are doing, but we also have a guide, published a guide for La Garrocha, 4 languages, a tourist map, and finally, I am almost finishing. The model of the Tourism Association Garrocha was modeled by the WTO, and in a compilation in 2003 included the of La Garrocha, one of the best species around the world, one of the 65 best experiences sustainable tourism. Then why La Garrocha? How excuse me? Why Tourism Garrocha is a successful experience? I can summarize saying that first of all, the degree of involvement of the key is really committed to the development of sustainable tourism in La Garrocha, National Park, of course, La Garrocha County Council, City Council of Olot, as public partners, Hotel and Restaurant Association, a pillar of all of them really association that is managed by very competent staff, including a manager and 2 specialists in local. Of course, the key of the success is the obtention of European funds from European programs as PLUS, the 2 or the PLUS, recently also from some ventures Catalan government. Finally, the framework of the charter, the incentive of the charter has been decisive in all those years, giving us a framework, reference, demanding a cooperative work, providing us a connection with our European parks, the European Charter Network, to develop many actions sustainable to you, and establishing every 5-year program operation stakeholder. Thank you very much for your attention. Wait for your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Joseph, for your presentation. I hope you had the possibility to read the slide because the audio was not very good. Then if you want to make a question, you can use the slide. Now I would like to introduce the other presenter, who is Caroline Leroy from Parc Naturel Régional Livradois-Forêt in France. And she will speak about the Charter Park 2 and how the park is working with the single tourist business to involve them directly in the process of the sustainable tourism. Caroline, to you.
Bonjour, good afternoon, everybody. In the first place, let me introduce the Livre de Forez localization. So, Livre de Forez Nature Regional Park is situated in France, in Auvergne, in the heart of Massif Central. We've got 162 towns divided in 3 counties, so it's of French departments. It was created in 1986, and our actual president is Tony Bernard, and director manager is Dominique Vergniaud. Our staff, we are 45 employees organized in 5 services: town planning, biodiversity, economy, territory, and administrative. And I am the only sustainable tourism manager working with the Park Tourist Office. So it represents our permanent forum, similar to Garlocha Park, and I'm in charge of the European Charter for Sustainable Tourism. In France, we've got a lot of networks. So with the French Federation of Regional Parks, managing the French section. IPAMAC, it's an interpark of Massif Central with 10 parks, all implicated in the European Charter for Sustainable Tourism. APARA is an association of the Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes regional parks, and EUROPARC, of course, for the European Charter for Sustainable Tourism. And I took part of the marketing commission. The specificities of Livradois-Forêt Park. We've got 2 months separated by a river, a peak at 1,100 meters, a huge diversity of wildlife and heritage, like local produce with French cheese, traditions like the knife of Thiers, landscape, forest, river, lakes, etc. And Auvergne is also a famous destination for hiking and outdoor activities. In the first place, let me talk about our strategy. So it's a 12-year program. Invent an alternative life, heritages and resources respectful, where frugality goes with fulfillment. So it declined with strategic goals to develop a green and heritage sustainable tourism based on human meeting. By sharing and presenting a same tourism strategy building on natural park brands. So it's the part one of the European Charter. Since 2005 for us, so it's our third certification. By developing and organizing an original tourist supply of wildlife, heritage, and people discovery. So it's sustainability for sport, mobility, culture, food, etc. And by helping tourist businesses and visitors through alternative and responsible acts and practices. So it's a part two of the European Charter. Since 2011 for us. We've got actually 30 businesses and in progress for the part two. And we declined this strategy in 10 main principles corresponding to the European Charter for Sustainable Tourism topics. I am proud to present a case of study, or Ladybirds of Livre de Forez, the collective intelligence at the services of sustainable tourism in Livre de Forez. We developed the part two of the European Charter since 2011 with IPAMAC. And in Livre de Forez, we tested it with our local network, Panda accommodations, hotel, scholar services, biodiversity, animation for families, and general traditions and local produces, museum, tourist office, etc. In 2016, we've got 30 businesses involved in the part two. Decline in accommodations, small accommodation like B&Bs or cottages, and huge one like hotel, holiday villages, and campsites. We've got heritage and natural sites too, museum, volcano, lake, castle, and of course, outdoor activities. Ladybirds of Livre de Forez, it's an informal network of professionals working in the tourism industry, like collectivity or institution, host, like accommodation. Our ladybirds can benefit to a panel of tools to help them to develop a better tourism in Livre de Forez. First, we plan a group training program with an eductor in EUROPARC, one per year. For example, we went to Mondardèche Park to work on promoting our local produces. Then we've got a discovery visit. It's untouristic and unbeaten tracks and famous tourist offers about heritage, biodiversity, etc. We've got, in the same way, we've got informal meeting, like our speed meeting. It's a joke. It's a kind of speed dating between farmers and hosts. And we've got sustainable tourism snack too. It's an open door days. Otherwise, we've got lessons in economy, like yield management, permaculture, welcoming disabled person, solar or green energy, etc. We organize brainstorming too. How can I promote sustainability? We talk about greenwashing. And of course, e-tourism, social network, e-reputation with TripAdvisor, OTAs like Booking.com. We organize between 10 and 15 meetings per year, and all of them are free. The training plan is worked with hosts in a participative way, and all of items are selected after an annual survey. In the second place, we created groups tools. For example, sustainable management information with practical records, 12 subjects about water, electricity, energy, waste, cleaning product, etc. to host. So it's information and local contacts. We've got two energy cases, one about water with tap nozzles and flow meter, and one about electricity with green or LED bulbs, watt meter, etc. And we've got tools to customers and visitors. So we call them EcoGest. It's an awareness campaign or communication. We've got discover information also. We've got a treasure trunk with hiking maps inside, books about landscapes, local novels, binoculars, family games, etc. And a wildlife guide and poster about birds, insects, flowers, etc. We've got even goodies and affiliation tools, slab, certificate, pen, badges, etc. And we created a sharing space. We've got a Google Drive online and a private forum with Facebook. Moreover, we propose individual tools with a special expert assessment with about sustainability building, wildlife inventory, website ergonomics or reviews, disable access layout, etc. We propose a personalized support for strategic position, communication plan, grant research. We made the link between other certifications in France, like Gîtes de France, Qualité Tourisme, LPO, etc. And we help business creation about legal and financial setup, market study, business plan. And in general, we propose tailor-made support and services. What is our main challenges? It's probably the mobilization of businesses. First, with time. A lot of businesses have a lack of time for the network. Host with other jobs or family pressure. For me, it's a difficulty too for the network coordination, because in France we've got a multi-layered bureaucracy, and I've got other mission and projects, and the Ladybirds network is not full time for the network coordination. A real challenge, it's the difference between businesses. Difference with kinds of businesses, like accommodation versus outdoor activities. It's not the same tools. Differences of size. For example, B&B with a capacity of 2 people versus holiday villages with a capacity of 300 people. And of course, the difference of levels of quality. Then Livre de Forez, it's a huge territory, 2 hours by car from the north to the south, and 100 kilometers for the west to the east. In any case, we can be glad of our successes. First, it is a global professionalization of businesses, because we work on a 3rd-year action plan and strategy. We also see the creation of local partnerships between businesses. There is a reflection about thematic travel routes. There is collaboration between accommodation to promote long-distance hike. And there are activities diversification and professionalization between farmers and hosts. Ladybirds is a real and strong solidarity network. We develop the concept of swap of equipment or knowledge. We add community volunteering projects like renovation works, just here, creation of an educational pond, etc. And of course, friendship between ladybirds. Finally, we reduce the negative. We try to reduce the negative impact of tourism industry and creating job and economic benefits with indicators about turnover, accommodation, occupancy rate, energy and water consumption, carbon footprint, result indicators of action plan, etc. To conclude, what is the next step? The part 3 of the European Charter for Sustainable Tourism. We started to work with operators, with EUROPARC, and in Livre de Forez, we've got a connection with 3 travel agencies. However, we've got a sustainable competition every 2 years with EUROPARC. It's a ceremony rewarding good practices in tourism for businesses involved in the European Charter. And in Livre de Forez, we try to test at the same time the approach of the part 2 and 3 for tourist office, because in France, tourist office can get the authorization to commercialize travel tour. And in France, in our French federation, we deploy the French brand called Valeurs Parc Naturelles Régionales. There is an evolution of businesses involved in part 2 through the brand Valeurs Parc. 15 businesses attained the brand Valeurs Parc level after 3 years of the European Charter. So it's a moving from a progress approach, which is the European Charter for Sustainable Tourism, to a quality brand with our Valeurs Parc. And in 2016, we are 50 businesses involved with Livre de Forez between the brand Valeurs Parc and the European Charter in the Ladybird network. Thank you for your attention. Merci beaucoup, and a good international year for sustainable tourism.
Thank you very much, Caroline, for your presentation. You have built a very strong network of businesses that are involved and participate directly in the charter process. The advantage is both for the businesses and for the park, and for the environment, of course, because the sustainability is that. As Barbara said at the beginning, you can write your questions in the chat box, and the 3 of us will be glad to answer to your questions.
Okay, just please don't forget to address your questions either to Patricia or Caroline, so we know who should reply to your question. So I believe this first question from Carmen is to Caroline. So how do you keep the entrepreneurs, craftsmen engaged for such a long time, from phase 1 until phase 3? Caroline, can you answer this question?
Hello, Carmen. It was a huge and long work, and it's a kind of specificity in Livre de Forez. We've got a lot of small network in different way, agriculture, economics, scholar services, etc. Even in tourism, we've got a tourist office in the same territory of Livre de Forez Park. So we started the part 2 in 2011, but our informal network, Ladybird or other network, started 20 years ago. So we need to be patient and organize a lot of small initiatives like our informal meetings to meet people and speak together to try to understand what kind of help they need. I don't know if I answered to your question, Carmen.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you very much, Caroline. So maybe you can go to the next one, and then I will give the floor to Patricia as well to reply to the same question. When you create a forum for your park, was it difficult to achieve a common ground? Did you find resistance to cooperate? And what were the main problems? Can you tell us a bit about this, Caroline?
I just need to read it again.
So it's the question from Rita. When you created the forum for each park, was it difficult to achieve a common ground? Did you find any resistance to cooperate? And what were the main problems?
Yeah, it's a real challenge because there are only 50 businesses between the European Charter and the Brand Valeur Park, but there are maybe 300 businesses in Livrados de Forez. So it's a really small network working together to promote sustainable tourism. Some of them get sustainable approach, but they don't promote it. We call it greenwashing. And after, some of them use the good brand of natural park and green tourism to promote their activity, but they are absolutely not involved in sustainable tourism. It's greenwashing.
Okay. And one last question for you, Caroline. So with so many certifications, like Panda, Gîtes de France, certification from the park, the charter, do they enter in conflict? Do they create confusion?
Confusion, probably, yeah. And conflict, not. Because we think about the difference between all of the certification. For example, it's quite different with Panda Gîtes, but for other labels or certification, they are a value different to European tourism, which is different to our Valeur Park brand. Every time I try to think about it, the different approach, the value of the Livrados de Forez, the value of a regional park. Every time I think about it, and we really work together with our partners like labels or institutional partners. We promote other labels.
Okay, thank you very much, Caroline. Just one final question. When the participants from Little Birds come together, do they have started any joint projects? Because you mentioned they become friends and they also create a link. Have you seen any new projects being created within this network?
Yeah, I'm really proud of it because it's like my children. And we think about a global approach, which makes local and global. It's an expression. I don't know if it is existing in English, to promote local devise and not the euro. And people need to meet tourists need to meet other people to can enjoy the trip. So it's a good example, but it's really started this year, and we think about alternative mobility, hitchhiking, organized hitchhiking project. We don't know how can we promote it, because there is a lack of public transport in Livre de Forez, and we've got a lot of urban tourists without cars, so sometimes it could be difficult to them to have a good access to Livre de Forez, and we started to think about it, a kind of hitchhiking between ladybirds. It's two good examples, and of course we've got we started to work with travel agencies and our tourist office about travel tools to promote sustainable tourism.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Caroline. If in the meantime you have some questions to Caroline, you can write them down. I will give now the floor to Patricia again. Patricia, maybe you can share with us your experience on creating the forum for your park, Alpi Maritimi. Was it difficult to achieve a common ground? Did you find any resistance to cooperate? And which were the main problems?
Yes, of course, there were many difficulties at the beginning. The different businesses were even competing one against the other, so to achieve cooperation was very difficult. But finally, they understood that the park was their most important value, and they begin to work together and to cooperate with each other. So we have a very low number of businesses because the park is a remote mountain area, and at the beginning there were only 20 attending to the meetings, but finally we were able to involve all the different stakeholders, even having contrasting interest in their activity. I mean, for instance, the fishermen and the people going on canoeing on the rivers. So we try to find some common goals and to involve them in order to cooperate for the same goals. We also have chosen, after the first informal meeting of the forum, to make a permanent structure, and we have chosen the form of the association, like they did in La Garrocha. We even went to visit them to get some idea and example from their experience. And the association Ecoturismo in Marittime was established in 2001. So now is about 15 years that they are working together. Sometimes there is a new enter, and very rarely is someone that is leaving the association. And I take this opportunity to answer also another question from Carmen Padurean. She says that it may be difficult to involve the people for such a long time. In fact, that is what is important, is to always have new projects and new goals. That's why the Charter established a 5-year strategy that is renewed after another 5-year period. So every new action plan contains new action to give a new involvement to the businesses and the partners. Okay. Did I answer to your questions? I hope.
I hope so. Milena had also a question for all, which were about the main challenges and solutions, but I believe you already mentioned when you answered the first question, but I don't know if you want to add something, Patricia. Which would
yes,
for people starting with the Charter.
Yes, the main challenges are the conflicts that may arise between the different interests of the stakeholders. But the charter is really the instrument that is useful to overcome all these contrasting interests, because the strategy is something that contains common goals to be achieved in the period of the action plan. And the solution is difficult to say, because the solution should be looked and should be found within the discussion and the process of the common forum. Is really the place where the solutions could come out from the people and from the partners.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Patricia. I will now address the last questions to Josep. I hope we can hear you better now. So, Josep, the first question is how to keep the entrepreneurs engaged for such a long time?
Well, I hope you are receiving a better sound now. To keep the different stakeholders together is a challenge. And for me, there are two tools in order to deal with this problem. The first is to try to be in touch with them as often as possible, and to establish a true dialogue with all the stakeholders, especially with private businesses that has a tendency sometimes to be distracted in a way. And then you have to be in a personal touch with them as often as possible. This is one of the tools. The second is, in my view, try always to offer something interesting, something new if possible, improving and allowing true new opportunities for the businesses to enhance the business. I mean, we always in La Garrocha have thinking about which kind of services can be interesting, and then of course discussing these solutions, these new offers in the forum, because sometimes one thing that is very interesting for the park is less interesting for these businesses, or the opposite. Then you must to find a common ground in order to really awake the interest of the businesses. I don't know if you have received me well that time.
Yeah, not all the time, but the majority, yes. Another question directly for you, Josep. Do the large majority of business associate to Garota Tourism are, or they don't? I don't understand totally this question, but
Yes,
they
yes.
didn't want to join. Yeah, have you read it?
Well, yes, there is a majority of business now participating in tourism association after many years trying to find the best solution, allowing not absolutely all the businesses. There are many in La Garrocha, but say that there are more than 200 businesses that are partners of the association is a remarkable success. I don't think that it is possible in a territory to engage the totality of the tourist businesses, but I am quite happy about the high degree of the high rate of businesses in La Garrocha that are actively participating in the tourism association.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much, Josep. Um, Before we leave, I would just like to ask you to fill up a very short poll It's just about your knowledge of the European Charter for Sustainable Tourism. And I would like to thank you all for having joined our webinar, and especially a warm thank you to Patricia, Josep, and Caroline, who have shared their experience and who have answered all our questions. Tomorrow it will be available on our website, the recordings of this webinar and also the presentations. And if you would like to make any more questions, you can also send us by email to office@europarc.org. Thank you very much for having joined us today, and I hope you find a way to join us in June for the next webinar, which will be about sustainable tourism in marine protected areas. Thank you, and have a nice afternoon.